Before you can get great results from ChatGPT, you need to know how to ask clearly. Now, that starts with a well structured prompt. A strong prompt gives the AI clear direction what you want, how you want it, and often who you want it from. In business, vague prompts lead to wasted time. So let's keep it tight, clear, and specific. Every good prompt has three building blocks. First, what you want, which is the actual task. Second, the role or context, which is what kind of expert or style the AI should use. And third, any format or limits, such as tone, word count, or structure. Let's look at a bad prompting example first. Write something about customer feedback. Now, what's wrong here? It's too open ended. ChatGPT has no idea who it is writing for, what format to use, or what tone to strike. You'll get something, but probably not what you need. Now, here is a stronger prompt. Act as a customer success manager. Write a short summary email to leadership highlighting key feedback trends from last month. Keep it under 150 words. Ask me any questions you need me to answer before you begin. Do you see the difference? The task is clear, the role gives it context, and the word count keeps it concise. This is the kind of prompt that gets useful output really fast. Here is another example. Summarize this meeting transcript into 5 bullet points, focused on next steps. Use clear, direct language, remove fillers. Now, this prompt gives structure and purpose. The AI knows what you're after and how to present it and what to leave out. And the more specific you are, the less time you will spend editing later. Need ChatGPT to help you plan something? Don't just say, help me plan a team event. Instead, say something like, act as an office manager. Suggest 3 ideas for a 1-hour team building activity suitable for a remote team. Keep the budget under $100. Now, to recap, start with the task. What do you need the AI to do? Add context. Give it a role, audience, or point of view. Include structure. What format, tone, or limit should it follow? Now, think of your prompt like a good email to a colleague. You wouldn't just say, help. You would say who it is for, what you need, and how it should look. ChatGPT works the same way. Structured prompts are equal to smarter results. In the next section, we'll go deeper into role-based prompting. It's a simple trick to get better, more targeted answers really fast. One of the fastest ways to improve quality of ChatGPT's responses is to assign it a role. Just like delegating a task to someone on your team, you'll get better results when the AI knows who it's supposed to be. We call this role-based prompting, and it's a game changer for business use. Instead of simply saying, write a summary of this content, try saying something like that. Act as a communications manager. Write a short summary email for the executive team based on this update. Now, adding that role helps ChatGPT frame the language, tone, and priorities correctly. Let's go through a few common business roles you can include in your prompts. These roles could be project manager, HR specialist, data analyst, financial controller, marketing copywriter, legal assistant, and many more. You don't need to overthink the role. Just choose something that gives the AI context. Here is another example. Act as a project manager. Create a short update to share with stakeholders on current project status. Include key wins, issues, and next steps. Now, this kind of prompt tells the AI exactly how to think, as if it's a professional in that job function. Now, you can also pair roles with specific audiences. Let's take an example. Act as a financial analyst. Explain our latest quarterly results in simple language for non-financial team members. Or you could prompt it like, act as an HR leader, draft a formal response to a question about employee leave policy. Or you can even say, use plain English or make it sound like it's coming from leadership. Now, the more specific you are with the role, the more relevant and professional the results will be. So remember, when prompting for work tasks, always ask, who should this sound like? Once you define the role, ChatGPT can behave like a subject matter expert. Up next, we'll look at how to control tone and formatting, so your prompts generate content that fits your style and situation exactly. Once you've structured your prompt and assigned a role, the next step is to shape how the response comes back, especially the tone, style, and the length. This matters in business communication. The way you phrase things for a CEO is very different from how you talk to a teammate. With ChatGPT, you can control this by adding simple tone instructions like make it formal, keep it friendly, use professional language, or even make it sound confident but not pushy. Now, let's try an example. Act as a marketing manager. Write a short social post announcing our new product feature. Use a casual and upbeat tone. Or you could flip the tone and say, make it more formal and suited for a LinkedIn audience of executives. You can also control the length. You could say things like, keep it under 100 words, make it tweet length, or use 3 bullet points. Now, adding these instructions saves you time editing later. The output comes closer to what you actually need. So when prompting, don't just focus on what the message says, guide how it should sound. Even a small tweak to tone or format can make a big difference in how your message actually lands. Next, we'll look at how to improve results by tweaking, asking follow-up questions, and refining the AI's output. The real power of ChatGPT isn't just giving you a quick answer. It's in ability to refine and iterate your results. Now, think of your interaction as a conversation. Ask, adjust, clarify, and repeat. You don't need to get the perfect result on your first try. In fact, the best outputs often come after 2 or even 3 short rounds of iterations. Here is a simple approach. First, ask your initial prompt clearly, using the structure we discussed. For example, act as a finance manager. Summarize this quarter's performance in 100 words for a leadership update. Then, if the output isn't exactly what you want, give specific feedback to ChatGPT. Something like make it shorter and highlight key achievements, or clarify the third bullet point, or include more financial details. Remember, each adjustment brings the result closer to your target. You can also quickly explore alternatives. For example, suppose your original prompt was act as a social media manager, write a LinkedIn post announcing our new partnership. If ChatGPT responds, now you can iterate it by asking, try a shorter version, make it more formal and aimed at executives, or maybe rewrite it as 3 bullet points. You get multiple options quickly. Then you get to pick the best one. Remember, iterations work because ChatGPT maintains context. You don't have to re-explain everything. Just refine or adjust. And there is no limit. You can keep tweaking until it's exactly right. Good prompts aren't always a one-shot prompt. They evolve over a series of prompts. So to wrap up this session, remember the key to prompting success. Clearly structure your prompt with a task, role, and a format. Define roles to get targeted, relevant output. Control tone and style to match your audience. And iterate to quickly refine and enhance results. With these steps, you're ready to tackle practical use cases using ChatGPT to simplify and speed up your daily work. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next lesson. Hello and welcome to this lesson. In this episode, we're using ChatGPT as a project assistant, which will be helping you plan, communicate, and track your projects faster. You will see how to prompt it to draft briefs, build timelines, write stakeholder updates, and even spot project risks. Now, these are hands-on repeatable prompts to keep your projects moving smoothly without hours of manual work. So let's get started. Let's say you're kicking off a new project and you need a solid brief. Now, instead of writing it from scratch, I'll have ChatGPT ask me the right questions first and then build the brief for me. Look at this prompt. As a project manager, I need help drafting a project brief. Please ask me the key questions you need to write a clear, structured one-pager. Now, ChatGPT is going to ask me the essential questions, helping me think like a project lead and ensuring nothing important is missed. With these questions on screen, now I'll just respond with short, clear answers to each of these questions. You could type or even paste these in from a planning document. Now, once I've answered, I prompt ChatGPT to write the full brief based on that context. Look at this prompt now. I say, thanks. Now write a one-page project brief using these answers. Use a professional format. And look, here are the results. A complete professional draft, all generated in under 2 minutes. That's a full project brief, built through a short, structured conversation. You can reuse this flow for any new project, big or small, doesn't matter. Now, once you have your project brief, the next step is to break it into phases and set a clear timeline. Now, instead of manually building this from scratch, I will ask ChatGPT to guide me. Here is the prompt I will use. Act as a project planner. I need to build a 6-week timeline for launching an employee recognition platform. Ask me any questions you need to structure it properly. ChatGPT now prompts me to give the key input it needs, like the phases, deadlines, or resources. Here's how I would typically answer as shown on the screen, briefly and clearly. Now, I ask ChatGPT to generate the timeline and task breakdown using that information. This is the prompt I'm using. Thanks. Now create a 6-week timeline with task breakdowns per phase, assigned teams, and suggested due dates. Include milestones as well. And here's what it returns: a structured view of the project you can use straight away. With just a few inputs, I've got a complete timeline and breakdown, which is ready to drop into a project tracker or send to my team. Now, as your project moves forward, you will need to summarize updates from different team members, obviously. So ChatGPT can help you turn scattered notes into clean progress summaries within seconds. Here is the prompt that kicks off that conversation. Act as a project coordinator. I need to summarize project progress based on team input. Ask me what details you need to create a simple yet clear summary. Now, ChatGPT helps me structure my update by asking for the right inputs. Here's how I would respond based on a weekly check-in with the team. Once that is in, I prompt ChatGPT to summarize the overall project status using this prompt on the screen. Now create a short professional project update summary based on this input. And look, this is what it gives me: concise and ready to share. In just one back and forth, I've turned rough notes into clean summary, something I can drop into an email, Slack, or status report instantly. Once you have summarized project progress, you can turn that into a polished update for your stakeholders. ChatGPT helps you keep it clear, concise, and on brand. Here is the prompt I would use. Act as my executive communications assistant. I want to write a stakeholder update based on a project summary. Please ask what details you need to draft it professionally. Now, it guides me by asking a few targeted questions, just like a real-world assistant would do. Here are my inputs, which are simple and focused. Now, with these, I will prompt ChatGPT to write the update. This is how I would prompt it. Please draft a stakeholder update email based on this. Keep it under 150 words and use a professional tone. Here is the finished version, a polished message I could send as is. Instead of writing the same updates each week, I now have a fast, repeatable way to turn progress notes into polished stakeholder communications. Well, let's say you want to proactively flag risks before they become issues. ChatGPT can help you do that by thinking through dependencies, timelines, or adoption challenges, all based on your project context. Here is a prompt I would use. Act as a project risk consultant. I'm managing a 6-week rollout of an internal employee recognition platform. Please ask me the questions you need to identify and mitigate potential risks. It's now going to guide me through risk thinking, something most project teams don't stop to do properly. Here is a realistic example of how I would answer for this project. Now, with these answers, I asked ChatGPT to list out the potential risks and suggest how to mitigate them. This is the prompt I would add. Based on that information, list 3 to 4 potential risks and mitigation strategies for each. Here is the kind of output it gives. Useful, clear, and something I can plug right into project plan or risk log. In under 2 minutes, ChatGPT helped us surface real risks, and more importantly, how to handle them. I can now stay ahead instead of reacting late. Now, let's prepare for a weekly check-in meeting. Instead of thinking through the agenda from scratch, I'll ask ChatGPT to help me build it based on where the project stands. Here is the prompt I would use. Act as a project coordinator. I need a 30-minute project meeting agenda. Please ask me what kind of project it is and what stage we are in so you can structure it properly. ChatGPT first gathers just enough context to create a relevant, time-efficient agenda. Here is a sample answer I would give. Now, I just ask it to create the agenda based on that input. And I would prompt it this. Please generate a structured agenda for a 30-minute check-in meeting. Include time estimates per section. And here's what it gives me. Clear, time-boxed, and tailored to what we need to cover. Now, this kind of agenda makes your meetings focused and productive. I can copy this straight into a calendar invite or paste it into Slack or Teams, and we're ready to go. Finally, let's make a weekly status report template. Now, instead of copying last week's or starting from scratch, I can have ChatGPT generate a clean structure I can reuse. Here is how I would prompt it. Act as a project analyst. I want to create a reusable weekly status report template for internal updates. Ask me what kind of sections to include in it. Now, ChatGPT asked me what I want to track, gives me full control over the format. Here's what I would confirm. Now, I ask it to build the actual template with this prompt. Please generate the status report template using these sections. Format it as a fillable outline. Now, here is what it returns. Ready for weekly check-ins or client updates. Now I have a status report I can update every Friday within minutes and keep the whole team aligned without creating it from scratch every time. And that is how you can use ChatGPT as a project assistant. from kickoff to check-ins and status reports. Now try these prompts in your own workflows and customize them to match your team's style. In the next episode, we will explore how to simplify finance tasks using ChatGPT. Thank you for watching. We're using ChatGPT for finance tasks. Let's start with something most managers deal with, which are budget summaries. Whether you're reviewing a proposal or preparing for a meeting, ChatGPT can help you turn intense financial data into something clear and presentable. Let's look at this prompt. I want you to act as a project coordinator. I need a 30-minute project meeting agenda. Please ask me what kind of project it is and what stage we are in so you can structure it properly. Now, this prompt helps you collect just the right inputs before you see the output, which makes the summary far more accurate. Here is a realistic example of what you might provide. Just a few bullet points is enough. Now, I tell ChatGPT to generate a concise, bullet-pointed summary. This is the prompt I would use. Now, write a short, clear summary I can paste into a report or slide deck. Use bullet points. And here's the output. Fast, clean, and formatted in a way that's ready to present. Now that took less than a minute, and it's already something I can use in a presentation, an email, or even a weekly check-in. You can even change the tone or format. For example, turn it into a table or executive memo with a simple tweak. If you're not a finance expert, reading income statements or balance sheets can be overwhelming. But with the right prompt, ChatGPT can turn those numbers into clear, useful insights that you can actually act upon. This is a prompt I would use. Act as a financial analyst. I have an income statement and want a simple business summary. Please ask me for the details you need to do this properly. This prompt gets ChatGPT to ask you the exact numbers it needs without you needing to know financial terminologies. Now, you might be tempted to upload a financial document directly as a PDF or a document, but be careful. Never upload files that contain credentials, sensitive financial information, or client data. It is safer to type in just the figures ChatGPT asked you for. So here's how I would respond. Just grabbing the basic numbers from a spreadsheet I already have. Now, I ask ChatGPT to turn these into a clear, business-friendly summary I could use in an update or slide deck. And here are the results. Clean, simple, and instantly usable. Now, this kind of breakdown is perfect for helping non-finance teams or even senior leadership understand what the numbers really mean, that too fast. Now, one of the most repetitive financial tasks is categorizing expenses, especially when you're working with raw exports from tools like Excel, accounting software, or card statements. This is a prompt I would use. Act as a finance assistant. I have a list of expenses and I need them categorized into types like travel, meals, softwares, etc. Please ask what format I'll be giving you and what output I need. Now, this prompt helps ChatGPT adapt to your exact input and return output that's clean, organized, and tailored to your needs. Now, let's say I've pasted in 5 sample expenses and I want a CSV style categorization. I'll also let ChatGPT detect the categories itself. Now, I confirm my format and let it do the work. I will use this prompt. Output the categorization as a clean table and also as plain text. Detect the categories based on description. Here's how it looks as a table. Great for slides or exports. And here is a plain text summary, useful if you're pasting it into an email or chat. You can even ask it to give you this in CSV format, ready for use in Excel. This is an optional prompt you could use to do that. Please output this in CSV format. Description, amount, category. ChatGPT adapts to how you want to work, whether it's giving you a polished table, a summary for your emails, or a raw CSV for your spreadsheet, all from a single list of expenses. Following up on unpaid invoices or sending reminders for upcoming payments, it's not fun, but it has to be done. And ChatGPT can help you do it faster and more professionally with tone variations to match the situation. Here is a sample prompt. Act as a finance assistant. I need to send a polite reminder email for an overdue invoice. Please ask me for the key details you need first. Now, instead of writing from scratch, I let ChatGPT guide the structure. Here's a realistic response I would provide for a standard overdue reminder. And with that, I now ask it to write a polished reminder email I can send as is. Here is a prompt I would use. Please write a short, polite reminder email with a professional tone. Include a call to action and note that no prior reminder has been sent. And here's the output, ready to send in under a minute. Now you must remember, you should always double check whatever responses ChatGPT gives so that you are clear that there is no mistake or tweaks that you need to make. Here, you can also adjust the tone. Let's try the same reminder with a more direct style. Now, this is the prompt I would use. Now rewrite that in a slightly firmer tone as a second follow-up if the client hasn't responded in 10 days. And here's the firmer version, useful when you need to escalate without being rude. Now, whether you're sending a gentle nudge or a firmer follow-up, ChatGPT helps you strike the right tone and get those invoices off your plate faster. If you're planning ahead for revenue, expenses, or hiring, ChatGPT can help you draft basic forecasts. Now remember, it won't replace a full analytics tool, but it's great for outlining assumptions, estimating ranges, or exploring scenarios quickly. Here is an example prompt. Act as a business analyst. I want to create a rough revenue forecast for the next 3 months. Ask me the inputs you need and include best case and worst case projections. Now, this prompt is useful when you want AI to walk you through the logic, not just guess the numbers. Here is a sample response I might give it based on real numbers and assumptions. And now I ask ChatGPT to generate a short forecast based on that context, with numbers and assumptions clearly stated. This is the prompt I would use. Create a 3-month revenue forecast from May to July with best case and worst case projections. Include notes for each month explaining why. And here is the output. Clear projections, assumptions explained, and ready to present. You can also ask ChatGPT to put this into a chart or table if you want it more visual. For that, here's an optional prompt. Please provide the forecast as a simple table comparing months and ranges. Now, whether you're budgeting conservatively or planning for growth, ChatGPT gives you quick, scenario-based forecasts that help guide real business decisions. Now, finally, let's say you come across a finance term in a report or presentation that you're not 100% sure about. Now, instead of Googling around or asking colleagues, just ask ChatGPT directly and tailor the explanation to your audience. Here is a sample prompt I would use. Explain EBITDA like I'm a business manager who doesn't have a finance background. Keep it simple and use a real-world example. Now, this is especially useful when you need to clarify something quickly for yourself or for someone on your team. Not only that, but you can also ask ChatGPT to switch formats. Say, turn that into a definition you could drop into a slide deck. Here is a sample prompt for that. Rewrite the explanation of EBITDA as a one-line definition and include an optional table for a Finance 101 slide. And here is the updated output, short and presentation ready. You can even prompt it to adjust the tone. For example, if you're explaining this to someone in marketing instead of finance, you can always change the tone. This is an example prompt I would use. Explain EBITDA in 2 sentences for someone in marketing. Keep it non-technical but accurate. Finance doesn't have to stay mysterious. Whether it's EBITDA or any other concept, you can ask ChatGPT to explain it your way and make the insights click for your team. And that's how you can use ChatGPT to simplify day-to-day finance work, from drafting summaries to sending reminders, building forecasts, and even explaining complex concepts. Now, try these prompts in your own tools and workflows. And remember, you can always ask ChatGPT to adapt the tone, the format, or the level of details. Thank you for watching.
Are you happy with this training? Make sure to subscribe for more great content. Visit the Simon Says It channel. Explore our videos and training sessions and decide what you want to learn next.